Good morning, everyone. We are looking at structured versus unstructured data and opportunity cost in BI. And we just have a narrow scope. This could be discussed in different or in different ways, in more elaborate ways, but we have a scope. And that scope is us looking at what structured data is, what unstructured data is, and how we can use the economic concept of opportunity cost in determining what type of data to store or to analyze in a given situation or condition. All right, so let's go on. In business intelligence, understanding data type or data is fundamental, right? We know the organization process vast amounts of data, but not all data is created equally. Okay, so the way data is stored, the way data is processed and used can significantly impact decision making and resource allocation. Data is also very important to decision making, or data is important to decision making, right? So that means data will have to be given attention to. Okay. So now this is something we have to take seriously. No serious organization will look at data as not important. Every serious organization will want to put certain amounts down for data collection, data analysis, and data storage, or data storage before analysis. So it's important that we kind of look at that. So today we will be discussing or going to a core business intelligence concepts that link data science with economics. So how we classify data and how we decide what's worth storing, processing, or analyzing. So now, as data analysts at this stage, data types, as it were, that is the data types will be something that wouldn't be new to us. But we are now looking at, within those data types, how we categorize them, whether their form is structured or their form is unstructured. That is what we mean. So we can now look at this categorization and what they really mean. Before we even look at the categorization, let us reintroduce what data is. We know that data refers to raw, unorganized facts and figures that can be processed and analyzed to extract meaningful information. So, with that in mind, we now can look at what data is structured and which is unstructured. So, structured data is data that is highly organized, right? Structured data is organized. Structured data is clear. It comes in a predefined format. Okay. So because of that standardized nature of structured data, it is easy for human eye to see and understand. For instance, when you see the data like gender, you understand that gender will have the various gender within it. When you see the data like age, for instance, you know that the age will have the various age within that the data. Okay, so now structured data is highly organized, right? It follows a clear format, like what we have. You can see in Excel, we have data in columns and rows, right? Okay, basically, we have data in tables with a clear categorization, because come to think of it, if you see data in Excel and you see age, the label age, the column label age, and you go and see gender, male, female, and otherwise under that age column, you know that that is not correct, isn't it? That has not been entered correctly. So that is why we say that the structured data is organized and is clear, can be understood by humans, or looking at it by men looking at it, and it can also be understood easily by the tools we use. Okay, so now it is worth noting that structured data can also be quantitative and qualitative. Okay, so let's get that in. so that we don't confuse something. Structured data can be what? Both qualitative and what? Quantitative. Now let's look at unstructured data. Unstructured data is more chaotic, right? It's not organized. It's not clear. For instance, let's say put side by side structured and unstructured data. I use age as structure, isn't it? As a structured data. You could easily tell the age of a person in a data set, right? But you will not be able to easily decipher maybe a comment on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or so on, or a post about a product without actually going through the post to look at various things. We are going to explain that and talk about that in details anyway. So unstructured data include text, images, videos, social media posts, and comments that don't follow a predefined format. So there is no predefined format to an unstructured data. So we mean that unstructured data does not have a predefined format. The data sets are typically large and comprise of 90% of all enterprise-generated data. Okay? Are we together? You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir. You can hear you loud and clear, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay. So now the high volume is due to the emergence of big data. Now we have massive, complex data sets from the internet. For instance, if you want to understand customer perception of a particular product, it is easy to search through the internet, through social media, to understand what customers are talking about a particular product. The easiest way to look at this is that if I ask you today to go download a specific application onto your device, your concern will be that if that application will be or cause or create a room or create room for malware. Okay, so you don't want anything to affect your device, right? So you go to the App Store to look at reviews. You begin to look at reviews. Some will say it has in-app advertisement. You have some will report glitches since the installed the application. So all of these things will inform you, right? But again, the Play Store have been able to group these reviews into stars, like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, right? That is, they have even grouped them based on themes. And that is what we will be looking at too today. We'll also be discussing about that. But if you go to the reviews, you'll find out that good reviews are mixed with bad reviews, poor reviews, and so on and so forth. So those reviews you see and you can read are unstructured data. They come in an unstructured, non-predefined format. So you see that we have a lot of them. It will be easy now for you to actually say, I know where to get this data, but they are not in a tabular format. Neither do they exist in a database that we have to now work on them to identify certain teams, to group them into certain teams and the frequency for which they occurred. Okay. Now, like we said before, that unstructured data rather includes text, images, videos, and posts, or let's say commentaries. Okay. Unstructured data can exist in what? Textual and non-textual format. And they can still be both what? Qualitative and quantitative. Remember, we said the same thing about structured data, that structured data can be what? Qualitative and quantitative. Okay, so both of these data can exist in those form. Okay, so qualitative in the sense that when you have data from social media comments, like these reviews as well, those are qualitative data, textual data, right? Then quantitative in the unstructured data format, in the sense that data may or figures may have numeric data embedded in them. Okay, figures that are embedded in text. For instance, let's say you are looking at the age of a person, of a commenter. You go to their profile, you can get their age, right? Or you want to look at percentage. Let's say you've asked people to give a comment stating the percentage of acceptance of a particular product. In that comment, they will have stated their percentages. Okay, I'm rating this product a 5%, a 10%, a 20%. Within that, you still have a quantitative data. Okay, even within the unstructured data. Before we look at the examples, of structured and unstructured data, can anyone give an example of structured data you use or you have used, whether in your workplace or in practice? Okay, both, that is, give us an example of both structured and unstructured data you have used or come across. Okay.
Yes, sir.
A survey. Oh, okay.
Okay, Nisi, go on.
I wanted to ask this example of a structured data. Can it be like survey questions that were answered?
Okay. Nsika, yes, I'm coming back to you, Nisi. Nsika, yes, structured data, exams record in a school. Yes, exams record in the school, it's a structured data. Then, Nisi, when we look at a survey, the survey now depends. Survey is wide. You have open-ended questions and you have closed-ended questions. So in the open-ended questions, for instance, the interviewee has the opportunity to write their feelings, declare their feelings more expressly. So you don't have a control or a format for which they have to present that data or whatever their response to your open-ended question is. So in that case, their open-ended question will basically sound like an interview, right? It's like you're interviewing someone, but the person is now writing it down, okay? Now, because the person is writing it down, there's no particular format you want the person to go. For instance, if you ask a customer to tell you their perception about a particular product, now you are not breaking down perception based on fragrance, based on feel, based on whatever it is that that product promises. So you are just leaving it open. You may be surprised that the person's response will be that, oh, I like the product so much that when I use it, I don't have to wear a perfume. You understand? You may also be surprised that the person might bring out something or discuss something not directly related. Okay, the person might tell you that whenever they use the cream, they have bees following them. You understand? So now, while that product was designed, there was nothing of such that you had in mind. So now, in that format is what? An unstructured data you are gathering. It's just like you are receiving comments on social media or scraping comments around the web. Now, but in that same data, in that same questionnaire, that very survey, you have closed-ended questions that you basically have maybe yes or no, or select an age range, 10 to 15, 16 to 20, thereabout. So that has a structure, okay? Nisi, I don't know if that is clear. You understand that, right? So your answer can be yes and no, depending on what part of that survey you're talking about.
Okay, sir, I understand.
You understand? Okay, that's good. So Nsika, like I said, he said exams record in school is a structured data. That's true. Matthias.
So
yes, go on, Rockefeller.
So what about weather data for weather?
Data for weather is structured because it has a structured format. For instance, you have
structure.
Yes, data is structured. Weather is structured. You have temperature, humidity, and so on, having specific values within a specific time. So those kind of data, for instance, okay, let me give us a very simple way to look at this now. Let's look at structured data and unstructured data as to how they can be collected and managed or stored. Structured data can be stored within tables, right? It can basically be stored within tables. Like, for instance, weather data, you can say temperature. and the temperature for different days or different seasons, you see that it can enter within a table, can easily be categorized within that table, right? But like the example I used for Nisi, I said, if you have an open-ended question, for instance, that you cannot predetermine what the response of the interviewee or the respondent is, you may not be able to fit that within a tabular form, right? You may not fit that because when you feel that, okay, you are finding a pattern, somebody will just mention that the pregnant wife doesn't like the smell of the cream. You understand? So you begin to ask yourself, how do I fit this now? Where does it go to? You understand? Is the cream good or not? Right? Okay. So now, with that way, we can easily understand that, okay, prior to analysis or prior to thematic coding or prior to coding or prior to aggregation based on sentiments, basically, we'll look at sentimental analysis. Okay. So prior to that, unstructured data is just unstructured, and a particular response may have different items within that response. Okay. Now, a particular response can be, you can get a comment that is giving kudos. Okay, John, you have a question? I can see your hand up.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please go.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. I know that maybe like the sales data projects. Then I have a question. Thinking, for instance, now maybe you are writing an exam or there's a question paper before you provide answers to those questions. Those answers, I guess I'm wrong.
Come again, say those answers did what?
The questions a particular answer that is correct or wrong, depending on what answers the person gives. So the answers that the students are providing now, those answers the students are providing to the questions, do we classify them as structured or unstructured?
Okay, now, nice twist. Let's look at this again. You know that when it comes to an exam, for instance, you have let's assume that in this very exam you're talking about, we have objectives, the objective section and the essay section. Okay, so in the essay section now, for instance, in the objective section rather, you have number one, the answer is either A, B, C, or D, or E, as the case may be. So it will be easy to supply those information in a tabular form. It will be easy to do that. You understand? Now, we also, while we are looking at structured and unstructured, we also should realize that there is also a type called what? Semi-structured. A type that is that has the characteristics of both structured data and unstructured data. Okay. Now, I will categorize the essay part as a semi-unstructured data because we could still present the findings. For instance, if a question is list the characteristics, okay, list the characteristics of a living thing. So we are expected to list all of the characteristics of a living thing, right? So it is possible that since the characteristics of living things are known, such kind of questions will serve as structured data. But again, in that same essay part, imagine asking such a question like this. Imagine asking a question, say a philosophical question, an unexamined life is not worth living, discuss. Imagine that kind of a question. So there is no way that you want myself, that is my response, and John's response to be okay. So you are basically asking of our perspective towards a particular question. So I may first agree that an unexamined life is not worth living, but even if myself, that is my answer, and John's answer is yes to an unexamined life is not worth living, our reason or our thought process will be different. So it's not easy to strictly categorize that. So you find out that our response now might have specific items that we can break into several teams, even within that response. So in that case, it's no longer a structured data. Okay. But if you say what is example, or another question you could ask that will lead you to an unstructured data will be democracy is government for the people by the people discourse. You understand? As a Nigerian answering that question, your answer will not even be near anybody. Just imagine that you are in, say, Harvard School of, say, you are doing policy governance in Harvard, for instance. Say you are doing policy governance in Harvard. You'll find out that those coming from Nigeria, those coming from different countries, especially schools like Harvard that give you room to express yourselves based on background, you find out that your response will be different from another person's response from the US, from Canada, or other US and other democratic countries. Okay, you understand? It will be different from people from Africa. An African will tell you that democracy is not for the people and not by the people. It's for the politician, by the politician and their children. You understand? So in no way can you just arrange that way. Okay. So you see, just as I categorize that we could, even in a survey, get different both structured and unstructured data. Even in that case, we can get the same as well. Okay, so let's move on. Any questions so far, or we can go ahead? Okay, so we have basically talked about the types of structured and unstructured data, but most of your response are here already, but let's just look at it. So for structured data, we have customer sales record, product database, attendance sheet, bank transactions, inventory in SQL database or SQL database. Then we have definitely more, like you have mentioned. Then we have unstructured data. We have customer complaints via email, tweets about product issues, call center audio recording, YouTube video reviews, Instagram posts about a product. So I am asking this question now. What do we see as how will I put it now? What do we see as an occurring significant difference between this structured and unstructured data? What do we see? I kind of have an answer I would like you to answer, like something I have in mind. I don't know if my question was posed very clearly, but there's one characteristic. Okay, let me put it this way. What do you see as a significant characteristics of structured data and a significant characteristics of an unstructured data? So what do you think?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Christina, good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For the structured data, you have a limit to what you can say, or there's always a limit. Let's say we are writing in amount, or is a yes or no answer, or true or false.
Okay.
But in unstructured data, you have to explain yourself, and like the customer complaint, they'll explain the real issues they are facing, the tweet, everyone expresses themselves. But
All
in
right.
the structured data, you just need, there is a limit to what you can put or say there.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Well done. And Sikak said structured data does not need interpretation. Okay, so Nisi, your hand is up. Your hand is up.
Okay, I feel like the structured data is more quantitative, while the unstructured has more qualitative aspects in it.
That is if we are looking at it like, say, what should have more? Yes, what should have more? But you remember that both can be presented as quantitative and qualitative, right?
Okay.
You understand, right? Okay. So
Yes, I do.
All right. Okay. John, let's hear from you.
Okay, and the structured data for me, I feel that is geared towards going through further analysis to get, to get insight into making decisions that can help, maybe in this case now, that can help a company to make decisions that will help their business to grow, or whatever aspect of it they are talking about. That's for structured. These data are the ones that they are saved in a format that that can be analyzed further. While unstructured data are just like information that are available in this, and then you just glide through, read through to get insights, but not possibly to analyze them further, except you want to turn those unstructured into structured for further analysis. Thank you.
So well done. Thank you for your response. At some point, that is why it's good to listen to somebody completely. At some point, I wanted to say, oh no, but at some point, you hit the nail on the head, right? So yes, both structured and unstructured insights can be generated from both structured and unstructured data, right? Both structured and unstructured data can be analyzed depending on the purpose for analysis. And that is why we are going to see more of it when we begin to talk about opportunity cost, right? So yes, but there's something you mentioned that is very key. In fact, two things that you mentioned that make me understand that you know what you're talking about is that number one, structured data talks about a particular structure, right? It is easy to arrange them, and leaning to what Nsikak says, structured data doesn't need to be interpreted, but I wouldn't say structured data doesn't need to be interpreted. I would rather put it this way, that structured data is easily understandable, right? It's easy to understand age, gender, state of origin, and so on and so forth, okay? So now, one common characteristics between the structured data, the structured data here, if you look at it, customer sales records. Remember, how is customer sales record presented? Product database, how is the database presented? Attendance sheet, how is an attendance sheet presented? Bank transaction, remember your, what is it called? Your bank statement, how is it presented? Inventory in SQL database, how are these presented? They are presented in a particular format, in tabular forms. You understand? They have that format. For instance, in bank transaction, you can see dates. In bank transaction, you can see dates, a date column. You can see transaction column. You can see amount column. You can see, and so on and so forth, right? You can see whether the transaction was successful. That is remarks. You can see remarks and so on. So it is structured. For you, just imagine that you go and collect your statement of account. The reason for getting that statement of account, you may be to clarify a transaction that wasn't successful. All you need to do is to search for the dates. Then when you go to the dates, you go straight to the remark. Was it successful or not? Okay, is it pending or has it been successfully transferred or implemented? That's the same thing with customer sales record. What was the product? What was the quantity? What was the product category? You can basically easily tell this. But if you go now, for instance, if you go to a company Google review page, it will not be easy for you to categorize them immediately to say, okay, is presented in a table like good review, bad review, poor review. That is the issue. So that is one key characteristic that separates this. Thank you all for your contributions. They were excellent, and that is very good. So now, to the next question, before we go into opportunity cost. So the next question, which do you think is easier to analyze and report using Power BI or Excel? That is between structured and unstructured data. Which do you think is easier to analyze and report using Power BI or Excel? You know, when I say Power BI, you know, we are talking about BI tools, right? So, John, is it the former hand or the new hand?
Sorry, sir, it's the former hand, but of course, it's structured data for me.
Okay, for a structured data. Okay. So, Nisi, the hand up, was it the former or the new one?
Oh, it's the former. It's structured data that is easier to analyze.
Okay, yes. Okay. So let's not flog this. Okay, let's not flog this further. Or John, do you have something to add?
No, sir, please.
Okay. All right. Yes. The truth is that as far as data, remember when we were talking about when we're describing structured and unstructured data, we said even with the tools, it's easy to analyze, right? These tools can actually easily see them because they're presented in tables and categorized clearly. So yes, structured data is easier to analyze, but that does not mean we should underestimate unstructured data. The truth is that unstructured data is where the emotional truths often live. Let's put it that way, that unstructured data is where the emotional truth often lives. For instance, let's look at this critically. On the sales data, you will just know if a product was purchased or not. You will know if a customer is a returning customer or not. But you will not know why a customer is a returning customer and why that customer did not return. Another customer did not return, right? So the emotions attached to a particular product or product performance will live within what? Within an unstructured data. For instance, most of the questionnaires you get for, say, maybe for customer feedback are what? They are structured and they don't allow you. You can easily say, will you recommend this? Or for instance, rate how you recommend this to your friend or family. So if you rate good, that is good. If you rate, say yes, let's put it on this scale, on a Likert scale or Likert scale. If you say most likely, you will most likely recommend it, or you say not likely. So even if you say not likely, the organization cannot go beyond you saying not likely. So what is the reason for not likely? Is it the price? Is it the product? Is there a competition that you prefer? Like, do we have a competitor that you will prefer? When we onboarded you as a customer, did you have to leave because of customer service satisfaction or thereabout? Did you leave because of product inefficiency or the product did not meet your need? Is there a particular product that you have replaced our product with, or you have just stopped using that product? How many of you have received calls from DSTV? They'll ask you, they'll greet you and ask you, especially if you've not subscribed recently, they'll ask you, why have you not subscribed? When you tell them the reason, they'll not ask you, which one is your best station? So, and okay, since you are not subscribed, is there another satellite or whatever that you have used? Have you changed DSTV? You are not. Is it that you are not subscribing because you are using another provider, and so on and so forth? So this is what I'm trying to talk about. You can only get such through maybe open-ended or questions or interviews and so on and so forth. But again, you see that most organizations would prefer structured data because of the ease of collection and the ease of storage, right? I hope we understand that. Is there any question before we go ahead? Do we have a question?
No questions, sir.
All right. Okay. So let's continue. Okay. So let's look at opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is an economic concept. Okay. They are central to, or rather, it's a central economic concept. So what does this concept say? Opportunity cost help us to understand and weigh up the true cost of decisions. It is also known as alternative cost. Okay, they are the potential benefits that are foregone if a decision is made in favor of a particular option and other alternatives are therefore excluded. So in summary, they represent the value of the next best alternative that is not chosen. So I can just say that opportunity cost is a value of what you give up when you make a choice, just like what we have on the screen. For option A, if you choose option A, it means you are foregoing the benefit of option B. If you choose option B, it means you are foregoing the benefit of option A. That is to say, both options are beneficial, but there are certain reasons why you are picking one over the other. But now you are determining what is the cost of losing that opportunity that you are foregoing. It's just like this. You see this common question that what if they give you $100 million now, and That is option A. Option B, they ask you to go, they give you admission in Harvard as scholarship. So if you are taking option A, which is to collect the $100 million, you have to look at the benefits of schooling in Harvard. So if you are picking option A, the $100 million, you have to also be aware of the benefits that you are foregoing. If you are going to Harvard, you have to also look at the benefits you are foregoing, not getting the $100 million. So it is not just about saying, oh, $100 million, I'll pick it. After all, if I go to Harvard, but you are going to look at it carefully and say, okay, which one am I? What is the weight I'm attaching to both? If I take Harvard, is the weight for 100 less? If I take 100, is the weight for Harvard less? So that's the example I can give you now. So let me use a BI example. Your company has 5 million naira per month to store and process data. You must choose option A, daily sales transaction. You know, daily sales transaction is what? A structured data. Or option B, social media posts and WhatsApp messages. You know, those are unstructured, right? But you cannot afford both right now. So which will you choose? And what is the opportunity cost of that decision? Can you give us a short response quickly? Which will you choose? Or should I come again with a question?
Sir, please ask your question again.
Okay. Your company has 5 million naira per month. Let's take the cost. Take the cost to mind. Your company has 5 million naira per month to store and process data, but you must choose which data to store and process. Option A, daily sales transaction. From what we have discussed, you remember that is structured data. Option B, social media posts and WhatsApp messages. Those are unstructured, right? So, but you cannot afford to collect both. You cannot afford to collect, store, and process both. So you have to pick one. Now, the question is this: which will you choose? And what is the opportunity cost of that decision? Okay, Nisi, let me hear from you.
I believe I would choose the daily sales transaction.
Okay, you choose
Because
daily. Okay, go on.
Yes, I will. I feel like to help me understand the, what I say, the is it the profit or the traction of my business
Yes, that's good. That's
and
good.
how it's going.
That's good.
That's why I would choose it.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So, but what is now, if you look at it now, you know that you basically understood your business, that you understand your business and the need for the data. You understand the need, your business and your business data needs. So that is why you went for option A. So will you be missing out on any opportunity with option B? That is, as you didn't take option B, is there any opportunity you'll be missing out on?
Yes. You'll be
Okay.
missing out on understanding your customers. You'll be missing out on how to improve
Okay.
to give them a good experience and to get more.
That is good. I like that. I like that. So, John, is it a current hand or a past hand?
It's a current answer.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Okay, as much as I would love to pick the easier one, which is the sales records, which doesn't need a lot of expenses to store it because it's already structured. I would go for the social media option. That's the option B. Reason being that the information I get from there is going to help me expand the business and make more sales. Whereas the sales data that I already have, it's based on the customers I have already. So I can see those ones in terms of the money that comes into the business because you are making sales, you are making profit, you are getting money, you are seeing those ones already. But the ones that I cannot see and I cannot make decisions on are the social media data. So I'll basically spend that money on that aspect to improve the business. And who knows, the money I get from there, I can use it to, attend to the other option A.
All right. That's nice. Ijoma, do you have something for us?
For me, I will say, hello, can you hear me?
Me too.
For me, I will say that I'll first of all look at how my business is going.
Yeah.
If my business is going well, if it's going well and the turnover is really increasing like every day, I know that the customers, they like my product and it is selling well. So I'll have to store the structured one.
Mm-hmm.
But if my business is not going well and I'm
Mm.
looking for how to improve it, that means there's something wrong somewhere. It means I would
Yeah.
need to know what the customers are saying about it. Then I'll go for the unstructured one. That's what
Mm.
I'll say about it. So it
Mm.
depends on the way my business is going.
Your
And
business
I'll
needs.
now want to the one I will store or the one I will not store. That's my input in it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well done, everyone. You have done great, all of you. So Nsikak said social media, he used one stone to kill two birds. He will get feedback and ads, awareness, and promotion. Okay. Okay. Continuously, he said customers can never love your product. You must always study to know what they want at a particular time. So that means he's going for the unstructured based on his business needs at a particular time. Matthias said customer review is very important. Yeah, so Matthias is looking at customer review. Basically, the idea here is to look at your business needs, right? Your business needs, what you need data for at a particular time, right? So that is it. And that is why opportunity cost here, you have to weigh what do I need at a time. So what benefits will I be losing, okay, at a time? Is it worth it? Is the benefit I'm losing, is it worth it? And I think Nisi, John, Ijoma, Matthias, Uche, and Insika have clearly stated that. Okay, so let's continue, right? So just like we have stated, if you choose sales data, your opportunity cost is possibly ignoring negative trends in customer sentiment. Basically, that is what we have looked at here. So if you choose social data, your report may lack accurate sales numbers. So like, is it Joma that said that she already knows what is happening, right? She already knows that. I think John said that as well. She already knows that his business is making sales, but he wants to understand the gets a data to look at customer perception, right? I think Nsikak also pointed out to that. Okay, so that is it. So let's quickly look at how we can structure unstructured data. It is possible that we also structure unstructured data. Now, I remember it was John who stated the difficulty of analyzing unstructured data. So, but unstructured data can definitely be analyzed in the sense that we can get structure out of a structured and unstructured data. So, the first way we can do that is to use natural language processing, okay? So here, NLP extracts structured insights, that is maybe keywords, topic, or sentiment scores from unstructured text, like maybe if we are using emails, whether it's social media posts or in surveys, right? So we can use tools like Python, right? We can use the Azure Cognitive Services and Google Cloud NLP to automate this process. So basically, the NLP does this to help us for sentiment analysis and to do topic modeling. So we will, as we progress, and I also like that as we round up this class, you also be looking at studying how can natural language processing help us do this? For instance, if I have a text, for instance, or a group of SMSs or WhatsApp messages, how can NLP help me group these into specific topics or sentiments? The second is thematic analysis. The thematic analysis here, we can either use manual coding as we would do in Vivo, or we can use AI-assisted clustering, right? Using tools like Monkey-Learn. I think in Vivo now has AI integration thereabout, so we can do that. But in Vivo is one of the most common tools, specifically used for qualitative analysis and thematic analysis in the area of research, but you can still use it here, okay? Very also good here. So now we can look at the third is metadata tagging. Okay, in metadata tagging, we can use images, audios, videos. So metadata tagging adds searchable structures, so such as labeling objects in photos or speakers' emotions in recording. So tools like the Amazon Web Services recognition, the Google Vision API, I think the IBM Watson can auto-tag content, turning media files into analyzable data. Okay. Then we have speech to text, right? Those interviews you record, for instance, you ask people about a perception of a product or their perception of a particular product and so on and so forth. You can transcribe speech to text using several tools. You can also do speaker diarization. And so I think transcription is straight to the point. But imagine that you had an interview, in a panel interview, where several people contributed their responses. Speaker diarization just means that you can basically mark what each speaker says in separate kind of, you say speaker A said this, speaker B this, speaker C, and so on and so forth. Okay, so then lastly, we have entity recognition. So entity recognition uses NLP subfield to identify and classify key entities. That is like names, dates, product mentions in text. Okay, for example, Google NLP API can extract product name and the date from tweets to track launches or issues over time. Okay, so these are how we can structure unstructured data and analyze them. So, okay, we can basically get key information based on what we want from unstructured data so that we'll be able to analyze them to get the perception of customers. Okay. Now, thematic analysis is quite straightforward. I promise that we'll go into details into thematic analysis in the future. But thematic analysis just have a simple cycle where you collect data, you code your data, you develop your teams, you analyze your teams, then you implement changes. So you have that cycle. We'll look at it in details very soon. Okay. So this is a group case study for the teams. So you'll be expected to do this and submit by Friday. Your retail firm has budgets for one data source this quarter to store sales data from 1,000 stores or store unstructured customer message from Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. So the group task is this. Choose your option, whichever option you want to choose. Identify the opportunity cost of your decision. Then thirdly, you analyze or suggest a method to extract value from the options you didn't pick. Okay, I believe it's clear. I'll still send this to your group. Okay, so do you have any question before we call it a day?
No, sir, I don't have any.
All right. Okay.
So will the slide be available for us?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, so thank you all for your contribution. Thank you for making the class interesting and interactive. Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, this group task you say we have to submit on Friday. Are we
Yes.
submitting it as a group? Is it one answer for the whole group or individually?
Yes. One answer for the whole group.
Okay, sir.
Now, this is what you do. While you are answering the group, you state contributors. Okay, that is a group task. Does not mean you say the whole team. Meanwhile, only 2 people. So if you make your answer while putting up your answers, you have to state the names of the contributors. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Okay. So that it can be scored. Okay. So that it can be scored. All right. So here's what we've learned today. We've learned business intelligence requires data prioritization. Okay, we've learned that business intelligence requires data prioritization. We've learned that opportunity cost helps us make smart economic decisions about which data to store. We have also learned tools like thematic analysis, okay, and that we don't have to ignore unstructured data. We can structure it. So data is not just about what we collect. It's about what we fail to collect. Remember, data is not just about what we collect. It's about what we fail to collect and what that cost us. What we fail to collect, what does it cost us? So have a blessed day ahead. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.